Thank you very much, Chrissy, for that intro. As explained there, thank you for coming to listen to me. I guess what I'm trying to achieve out of Aruma is a diversified exploration company, and we are focused on driving some shareholder value. That's a typical disclaimer, competent person statement and looking forward statement. And a corporate snapshot. So the thing I like about this slide, it's only 200 million shares on issue, or just less than. Early this week, trading at 4.8 cents for a market cap of just under 10 million. But we did do a raise earlier earlier in June, and raised $2.3 million. So that's just been put in the bank. So we've got plenty of cash to explore with $3.4 million. A great point that I like to make is our R&D claims that we make each year. We have approved projects that we claim against for the 12 years that Aruma's been working. We've managed to get back $5.5 million from the government, and I certainly hope to get back another $800,000 or so later this year. But what that means is we spend our money about 1.4 times into the ground, which is pretty good shareholder value and allows us to explore well. So these are my projects. So I've got 5 projects up in the Pilbara, up in the northern part of Western Australia. I've got saltwater, which is becoming a rare earths plus project. So there's base metals as well as gold, and Melrose closer to, or past Paraburdoo, which is a gold project. Down in the Yilgarn, I've got 2 gold projects, one at Carter Well near Mount Magnet, and further in the south closer to Esperance is Semmingums. And then last year we drilled our lithium project at Mount Deans, and that certainly got us a bit of attention last year. So what sets Aruma apart? So we have a geological model that we target areas that we like to go exploring in. So it's our gold in sediments model that our R&D claim is against. But we go and look for patches of ground that we think have either been underexplored or overlooked for various reasons. Examples of these are our Mount Deans. Knew there was tantalum-rich pegmatites outcropping, but had never been assayed for lithium. Saltwater, a really remote part of Western Australia where some local prospectors have been finding some gold nuggets in the creeks up there. Pretty much not explored for anything except a bit of uranium a few decades ago. Semmingums down in the south was always mapped as part of the Albany-Fraser zone for the non-geos. That's not part of the Yilgarn Craton where all the main gold deposits are. And Carter Well was always also incorrectly mapped as granite and not greenstone. So that's examples of why we peg ground, because they're underexplored for various reasons. I'll go through 3 of my projects that I like better. So I'll zoom into Mount Deans, which is just south of Norseman in the goldfields. So it is in the lithium corridor of the southwest Yilgarn. Pretty simple geology. It's pegmatites in a basalt, and it sits about 200 kilometres from the deep sea port of Esperance. So logistics wise, it's got a local mining town nearby and a deep sea port. As I said, there was some exploration done for tantalum in the noughties. In fact, Tantalum Australia had a resource there, but we drilled it last year and assayed for lithium, and we got some nice results there. So grades up to 2% lithium oxide, with some high-grade rubidium as well, so 1.5% rubidium. But what comes with that is other metals as well. But we got intersections 8 metres at 1.1% lithium oxide, 5 metres at 1% lithium oxide, 5 metres at 1.2, so really consistent grades. And what we found is they're sheeted veins, so they're quite consistent. They dip together. There's 2 mineralised pegmatites, and they work quite well together. But along with the nice grades of the lithium, we've got some really high cesium, tantalum, tin, potassium, 10 metres at 0.2% cesium, another 6 metres at 0.2% cesium. as well as at 7 metres at 405 ppm tin, and 6 metres at 400 ppm tantalum. And what's exciting about that tantalum is half that grade is economic. So if I can get a resource grade of 200 ppm tantalum, the tantalum will pay for the mining and the processing. So all these other things in there at Mount Deans with the lithium all create exceptional value. Point I do like to make is it's not a spodumene ore body. So the lithium I have at Mount Deans is lepidolite. Lepidolite's not the sexy hard rock mineral that West Australians like to go and mine, but it is really important to understand and note that globally a third of lithium is sourced from spodumene, another third is sourced from brines, and the remaining third is sourced from lepidolite. So lepidolite is a really important source of lithium globally. So this is what the Mount Deans process would look like. I've been doing some metallurgy study work on making a concentrate out of the lithium micas. I've been successful getting about a 3 times upgrade to date. I hope to improve that. But what it's also done is shown that the tin and the tantalum liberate quite well. And I've got grades up to 6,500 ppm tantalum in a concentrate through another step of gravity separation. So all these steps show that Mount Deans could show exceptional value. Jumping up into the Pilbara, it's the 2 projects I have there. Melrose is close to the old Poulson's mine that Northern Star run and now Black Cat Syndicated are working on. And you can see both projects are adjacent to the Nandjalgardi Fault. Nandjalgardi Fault is the main mineralising structure in the region, probably controls upwards of 5 million ounces of mineralisation. Kalamazoo have just upgraded their resource there to 1.5 million ounces or so at Mount Olympus. Further to the west of that map, east of that map, is the Carla Winter deposit that Capricorn are mining currently. So it's an exceptional structure that controls a lot of the mineralisation. But I'll zoom into saltwater. So saltwater itself is about 150 kilometres to the southwest of Newman, so really remote part of the country. 400 square kilometres of tenement here. Was pegged for gold. As I said, local prospectors were finding gold in the creeks up at saltwater. But about 10 or 12 years ago, a company by the name of U308 were doing uranium exploration and discovered some high-grade rare earths. Along with rare earths, there's usually radiation, so the thorium was used and they found Levanto and Sirius, so 11 and 9% rare earths. And at the same time, U308 worked on the Nobbies prospect, so there's 3% copper there, 1.4% lead, 2 grams gold. Saltwater is where the nuggets in the creek were found, and then more recently, our neighbours at Dreadnought did some grab samples near Monster here and come up with nearly 12 grams gold, a heap of silver and a huge amount of antimony. And to me, what that antimony says is that you've got a huge juicy system that's flooded with metals. They also were successful in finding some heavy rare earths in the middle, and that's really gave us momentum to go looking for the heavy rare earths, but also the base metals. So this is a tenement map. The green shows you Dreadnought, that's the Bresnahan project. But I'll point out in the red there is a company called Bresnahan Exploration. It's a subsidiary of Wesfarmers, and the blue is Teck. So these are all pegged and come in since sort of the middle of last year. So it is really a spot where some people who know what they're doing are really focusing on and exploring. Some field work up there recently. Went up to the Levanto up here. That's a black manganiferous shale with a hydrothermal quartz breccia, and below the breccia you find the high-grade rare earths. That's Tim, my senior geo. We were up there 2 weeks ago, and that's near saltwater here. Again, the same manganiferous shale with the quartz breccia, and we're waiting on the results from that field trip to come back from the lab at the moment. So that's the model we're going with, which is an unconformity model. Worked really well at Browns Range for northern minerals. But the model is that it's similar to the gold sediments model in that these are sedimentary basins, and the marine, or the salty seawater has been pushed up through the pile of sediments, grabbed the metals out as it's come up, been trapped by the unconformity at the top, and then it's found its way to a reactive part of the stratigraphy that sucked the metals back out of the fluid. So that's where you go looking for the quartz breccias and below the quartz breccias. So the potential of saltwater is enormous. And we'll just skip back down to salmon gums. So this is 100 kilometres north of Esperance. It is wheat belt. I do have to work around farmers cropping. But again, the reason I pegged this was mapped incorrectly. So the Kundalee Fault on the maps here was also always the southernmost extent of the mapped Yilgarn. Below that it was Albany Fraser Zone. Pantoro mining their Scotia project. South of that Kundalee Fault definitely is Yilgarn mineralisation, Norseman greenstone, and we followed that south and drilled Thistle and Iris last year and had some pretty successful drill hits with the 5 at 50 and 4 at 4 in the bottom of an RC hole in Thistle in the middle here. We did follow that up with some drilling in April. We did extend the mineralisation. We weren't successful in finding the high-grade gold. So the plan going forward with salmon gums is to really zone in and target that high-grade Thistle zone with the 5 at 50 and try and understand what the high-grade gold is doing and see if we can map some and model some structure there to drill. So that's the highlights. They're the 3 projects that I really find exciting. Company metrics, so we've got strong upside, market cap of $9.5 million with 3.4 in the bank at the moment. We do actively drill, as I said, well-funded. Results, we have success, so we've shown that we've been successful with our Mount Deans project with lithium and salmon gums. Certainly hope to repeat that with the work we're doing up at Saltwater. All our projects are in Western Australia. It's just an easy place to do work, great precinct, and we are multi-commodity focused. So previously Rumour had the blinkers on for gold, certainly not gold any longer. Although I am a gold gear, I like gold, but it's the lithium and the rare earths have really taken our attention. A new team, so I come on board in January, as Chrissy said earlier. Really excited to see what we can do with Rumour, and Tim started as senior geologist for me at the start of April. So building some knowledge that we think we can really understand our ore bodies. And the R&D gives us the ability to spend our money 1.4 times. I think we're a great potential. If you want to talk more, come and see me booth 16. But remember, Rumour, it is an Indigenous word that means happy place. So thank you very much.